fire, riz, slay. You've probably said these words multiple times today alone, but the real question is, why do we say the things the way we do? I mean, our grandparents didn't say these words.
They might have said words like groovy or far out, and these terms are definitely not in our common vocabulary today.
What is slang, and what does it have to do with how we talk? The answer? It has something to do with our brains. Let me explain.
In your brain, there are 5 main parts, like the cerebrum, which controls your thinking and voluntary muscles, or maybe the cerebellum, that controls your balance, movement, and coordination.
But according to speech-language pathologist Courtney Hazard, it goes even deeper than that.
The brain actually puts together thoughts into words, forming a sentence that makes sense, and then also works to make the mouth move. There are 2 areas in the brain that are associated with speech and language, and one is for the speech sounds and how we actually make the spoken word, and then there's another area that helps us with understanding and processing language.
According to recent research, teenagers also get their terminology from the things they expose themselves to. For example, social media and the friends that they hang out with.
It really depends on who I'm with. So if I'm with, like, let's say friend group A, I'll use their slang, and if I'm with friend group B, then I'll use their slang. So it really just depends on who I'm with, but I'll typically use their slang as well.
Yeah. For example, cool in the 1800s was used to describe something cool, and it wasn't until the 1930s when we started using it as the adjective describing something intensely good. For example, look at that cool car.
So in the last 15 years, do you see a change in people talk?
Yes. Speech and language are skills that are always evolving. So if you think back even to the language used in the Bible or like a Shakespearean play, people talked like that back then. And it's definitely very different than how we speak today. I see the influence of text speak on how people talk. They shorten things grammatically when they're writing, when they're texting.
So as an English teacher here at Sparta High School, do you use slang in your writing with your students?
Normally, the only appropriate place to use slang would be something like a personal journal, maybe in creative writing, or if a teacher says to you, this is your writing, this is your journal space. Otherwise, I talk a lot about code switching, and I talk a lot about how, even if that's the way you speak at home or with your friends, if you're in a professional setting, you want to code switch away from that. Oftentimes, I'll actually say things like, this isn't a barn or a bar. This is school. So we're going to go into professional mode, and I try to emphasize the code switching.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
TV shows also have a major impact in the way we talk. For example, Brady Bunch was a popular show in the 70s where they said things like groovy and far out all the time. And since the show is no longer and hasn't been showing for about 50 years, this could be the reason why people no longer say their slang.
So you work with young kids every single day. Do you see them use slang?
We do. I wrote down their favorite ones. From what I hear and hear every day is, you're being sus. That's their favorite one. Yeet is a favorite, and so is bruh.
What outside things influence how we talk?
A lot of things actually do. We look at age, gender, culture, religion, ethnicity. I'm a language nerd, so what was very interesting to me is looking back at like times of slavery and trading. The influences of all the people coming together from different parts of the world created, like, they call it Creole. It's basically when you simplify your own language to meet the needs of another, and you end up with a language that everybody can understand.
So, in conclusion, we get our terminology from the things we are exposed to every day. Friends, family, TV shows, the list goes on. And while we don't know when language will change, we know that it will in the future. And we may be saying different things from the way we say them now.
That was so Rizzlord of you. Oh my gosh, is that the Wizard of Oz? Holy Risley Bear. You're so Risley Bear right now. Oh my goodness gracious. That was so fire.